Jacqueline Bouvier was born in Southampton, New York on July 28, 1929. Although she grew up during the Great Depression, her family's wealth ensured that she still had a relatively privileged upbringing. Known for her style, Jacqueline soon became a fashion icon for a generation, and she gained celebrity status that placed her in the spotlight long after the tragic death of her husband. Voted the #1 most loved First Lady on the website Ranker, she is still very much beloved by the American public. But how much do you really know about Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis? Number 1. She was related to the infamous mother and daughter recluses of Grey Gardens. In 1975, Albert and David Maysles released a documentary film about a reclusive and eccentric mother-daughter duo living in a dilapidated mansion in the Hamptons. Both women were named Edith Bouvier Beale, and they were known as Big Edie and Little Edie. The pair were both socialites and performers, but due to the conventions of the time, they were both encouraged to wed rather than pursue their artistic talents. The pair ended up at Grey Gardens, which Big Edie had secured in her divorce settlement. However, her extravagance and carefree attitude eventually lost her the financial support of both her ex-husband and her father. Aging and without an income, Big Edie could not maintain the sprawling property, both physically and financially, and Little Edie moved home to look after her ailing mother, selling the family valuables to feed the pair and their 52 cats. Big Edie was the sister of John Blackjack Vernot Bouvier III, Jacqueline Kennedy's father. The year before the documentary came out, Jacqueline, who was then married to the Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis, visited Grey Gardens, worried about the unwanted publicity the film would bring. The Edies had developed an unlikely friendship with a young handyman named Jerry Torrey. Torrey was there the day Jacqueline came to visit. He described Jacqueline's reaction to seeing the home of her aunt and cousin for the first time. She had her round dark glasses concealing her face. She took off her glasses in disbelief. I watched her face as she pondered over what she was looking at. At that time, the reclusive women were facing eviction due to the state of the building, so Jacqueline and her sister provided money to clean up the property and allow the Edies to stay at Grey Gardens. Number 2. She was a reporter and photographer. Growing up, Jacqueline was fond of writing. Her first job in 1951 was as an inquiring camera girl for the Washington Times-Herald. Her column involved photographing and interviewing people on the streets of Washington and asking their opinions on the questions of the day. Amongst her most famous interviewees was Richard Nixon, and she also covered the coronation ceremony of Queen Elizabeth II and the first inauguration of Dwight D. Eisenhower. In 1960, her husband, John F. Kennedy, decided to run for president. Shortly after Kennedy's campaign began, Jacqueline found out she was pregnant. Doctors advised her to limit her travel, meaning she could not accompany Kennedy on the campaign trail. Kennedy's advisors were concerned that her absence might put off voters. They suggested that Jacqueline return to writing in order to remain connected with the campaign and appeal to women voters. She wrote a weekly news column entitled Campaign Wife that detailed her experience as a young mother and wife while also providing information on her husband's policies and initiatives. The Democratic National Committee distributed her column in national syndicated newspapers. In 2010, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Kennedy's campaign, the Presidential Library launched a Twitter feed based on Jacqueline's columns. Number 3. She was a polyglot. From an early age, Jacqueline was interested in languages. Due to her heritage, she was particularly drawn to the French language and even studied at the Sorbonne in Paris. In 1958, she made her first campaign speech for her husband in French, addressing the members of the Worcester Cercle Français. Her command of the French language and love of their culture was evident in Kennedy's trip to Paris in 1961. Where Kennedy introduced himself at an official function as the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris. She wasn't just proficient in French. In Milwaukee in 1963, she addressed an audience that was predominantly Polish in their own language, telling them, "Poland will live forever." She also spoke Spanish fluently, dabbled in Italian and German, and helped her husband with the phonetics of his famous declaration, "Ich bin ein Berliner." Jacqueline knew the importance of recognizing the multicultural heritage of America and wrote in her Campaign Wife column, "All these people have contributed so much to our country's culture. It seems a proper courtesy to address them in their own tongue." Number 4. She was the third youngest First Lady in U.S. history. Jacqueline was 12 years younger than her presidential husband and was only 31 when she became the First Lady. She undoubtedly used her youth and background to help her secure her place in the hearts of the American people. As a socialite dubbed Debutante of the Year for the 1947-1948 season, she knew how important appearances could be. As First Lady, she became a trendsetter. Her style was simple and elegant, yet modern enough for young ladies to want to copy it. Although her style made her the focus of criticism amongst those who felt that an American wife in the 1960s should dress more conservatively, her brightly colored clothes and European flair appealed to young, stylish women. She was media savvy and was the first presidential wife to hire a press secretary in order to cultivate her image carefully. This awareness of public image proved to be an important move, as the increasing popularity of television caused Jacqueline to receive media scrutiny like never before. Number 5. She completely refurbished the White House. When the Kennedys moved into the White House, Jacqueline was determined to refresh the place and make it a more impactful building. She told Life magazine about an anticlimactic visit to the White House in her youth, stating, "From the outside, I remember the feeling of the place. But inside, all I remember is shuffling through. There wasn't even a booklet you could buy. Mount Vernon and the National Gallery and the FBI made a far greater impression." As a young couple, the Kennedys added a new casual atmosphere to what was viewed as a rather stuffy and conventional building. They allowed smoking, served cocktails, and hosted entertainment with a stage set up in the East Room for singers and musicians. But Jacqueline didn't just want to update the place, she wanted to showcase its history. During the first month in residence, Jacqueline hired a famous decorator, Dorothy Parrish, and spent the $50,000 refurbishment budget updating the private living quarters. With no money left for the public part of the house, Jacqueline reached out to Winterthur Museum, hoping to loan some antique furniture. The museum's director, Charles Montgomery, suggested that she form a committee of connected people who would help acquire antique furnishings that would be appropriate for the presidential residence. They created the Fine Arts Committee, with Henry Francis DuPont, the owner of the Winterthur estate, as the chairman. To promote her project, Jacqueline outlined her plans in an interview with Life magazine, stating, "Everything in the White House must have a reason for being there. It would be sacrilege merely to redecorate it, a word I hate. It must be restored. That has nothing to do with decoration. That is a question of scholarship." In March of 1961, Jacqueline and DuPont appointed a curator to deal with the growing collection of Americana items, and in September, Congress passed a law that declared the White House a museum. The act guaranteed that any historical donations would remain in the White House, and it protected the rooms from being radically altered in the future. Jacqueline courted the media during the restoration, and on February 14, 1962, CBS aired a televised tour of the White House, given by Jacqueline herself. Over 80 million viewers watched the show, and Jacqueline received an honorary Emmy in recognition of her contribution. Later, Jacqueline introduced another feature to the White House when she opened a kindergarten in the solarium. As her daughter struggled to get to school due to paparazzi harassment, Jacqueline set up a school for her at home. Around 20 other children attended the school, with the Kennedys and other parents paying the teacher's salary. Number 6. She was unknowingly addicted to methamphetamine. Although the Kennedys made sure to appear the picture-perfect young family, JFK was actually suffering from Addison's disease, which caused him terrible back pain. He also had undergone spinal fusion surgery in 1957, was prone to infections due to his autoimmune disease, had awful allergies, and had issues with his digestive tract. In 1960, Kennedy was introduced to a German doctor called Max Jacobson. Jacobson's treatments were renowned in the celebrity world, and he gave Kennedy a treatment that immediately took away his pain and made him feel alert. Soon, Kennedy became reliant on Jacobson's treatments, which Jacobson referred to as miracle tissue regeneration. It wasn't long before Kennedy recommended the treatment to his wife. Jacobson, who had earned the nicknames Miracle Max and Dr. Feelgood, was always on call for the presidential couple, even on foreign state visits. There is evidence that Jacqueline was under the influence of Jacobson's concoctions when she attended a state dinner at Versailles and when she first met Queen Elizabeth II. Between 1961 and 1962, Jacobson visited the White House over 30 times to administer his treatments to the President and the First Lady. In reality, Jacobson's miracle cure was a large dose of amphetamines mixed with painkillers, vitamins, and human placenta. Although the Kennedys were enamored with the magic elixir, the Secret Service agents were highly suspicious of Jacobson. When Kennedy was warned that the injections might be dangerous, he retorted, "I don't care if it's horse piss. It's the only thing that works. Number 7. She wore her clothes stained with blood to Lyndon Johnson's swearing-in ceremony. In the autumn of 1963, while still grieving the death of her prematurely born son, Jacqueline decided to join her husband on a trip to Texas. In Dallas, on November 22nd, she donned her pink wool suit and pillbox hat and rode alongside Kennedy in the open-top limousine through the crowded streets. Little did she know the chic outfit would soon be covered in her husband's blood. Jacqueline held her dying husband and remained by his side while doctors tried in vain to save him. He was pronounced dead at 1 p.m. Jacqueline was driven with Kennedy's casket to Air Force One, where Lyndon B. Johnson and his wife were already waiting. On board the plane, Jacqueline found a change of clothes and instinctively wiped her face clean. She later told Life magazine, "1 second later, I thought, why did I wash the blood off? I should have left it there, let them see what they've done." With that in mind, she kept on her blood-stained outfit and even insisted on being photographed standing next to Johnson as he was sworn in. Back in Washington, she was offered the chance to disembark without being photographed. But Jacqueline doubled down, saying, "We'll go out in the regular way. I want them to see what they've done." Jacqueline didn't change out of her blood-spattered outfit until she and her husband's body were back at the White House, where her maid placed all the items in a bag. Months later, the clothes were sent to the National Archives, where they remain to this day. In 2003, Jacqueline's daughter Caroline made a deed of a gift of her mother's clothes from that day, with the stipulation that they not be displayed for 100 years. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about the life of Jackie O, check out our book, Jackie Kennedy, A Captivating Guide to the Life of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.